Hello everybody, welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe. People on Earth, welcome to a brand new build. On the bench today is the Igoe Pod from Innerspace. Now if you are a long-standing member of this channel, you will know that I built the Kraken quite a while back, and that was a Golden Armor print. And those files are available from Golden Armor. And additionally, I discovered the Igoe Pod was available. Now, the designer of the Igoe Pod STL files, which is what I'm building from, is a gentleman by the name of Lee Pei. Forgive me if I have completely mispronounced his name, but I believe that is it. If you want to build this kit and you want these files, here you go. I'll leave this up here for a second. You can grab this freeze frame and take a look. These files, I should say, are available if the teeth are working from Cults. And here is it. It's cults3d.com, and there it is. And it is available, and it is $20.38 US. And there it is. And it is in the same scale as the Kraken. So if you want to build both of those in the same scale, you certainly can. If you wanted to shrink this a little bit, you could. If you wanted to blow it up, maybe you could. I'm not sure. I'm not that adept at, how much you can blow up files. I do know in the past when I've tried to shrink or blow up files, it depends on the polygons and the framing and the structure of it, whether or not it can actually handle an explosion or shrinkage. So you do that at your own peril. But this is approximately 1/12 scale, and I'm a big fan of Innerspace. It was a great movie, and I'm excited to be building the Igoe Pod. Now, not a terribly complex build. It doesn't have as many parts as the Kraken did, but I'm going to go overboard here on lighting. I'm going to just absolutely go overboard because there are many opportunities to light this, and so that's where I'm going to have the fun with this kit. So before I get started and sort of dive into the parts, and we'll look at everything and discuss some of my lighting strategy. Some of my lighting strategy is going to evolve over the course of this build, but some of it I've already started to prep for, and we'll talk about those elements in just a minute. If you want these prints and you don't have the ability to print it yourself, there are printing companies that will do it for you. The one that I love and work with very closely is Sean Homer over at 8K Miniatures, and that's 8kminiatures.com. I will have his contact information in the description below this update. Now, I do know that Sean is moving. He's moving his organization from the West Coast to New Mexico. I don't quite know all the details, but if you reach out to him by email, it may take a week or two before he gets back to you. I know he will get back to you because he's just a first-class human being, and he's got a great organization there, but he is under the gun here on a move. So if you don't hear from him the very next day, please be patient with Sean, but know that when he sends you a print, it'll be a quality print. Mr. Igoe was played by Vernon Wells in the film. This was a 1987 film, I believe. Joe Dante directed, and it starred Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, and of course Meg Ryan. Wow, I got it out. But there you go. And so in the film, Mr. Igoe goes with his pod into Martin Short's body to go after Dennis Quaid, and ultimately Mr. Igoe is destroyed by Martin Short's stomach acid. It's a great riff on the the 60s movie Fantastic Voyage. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's look at what you get. When you get your files, you'll get all of the information you need, and we're going to sort of follow along. But the reason why I want to start with this overview here is because I want to talk about the lighting opportunities. Having looked at some of the research reference material, now you do get reference photos with it, and I will put those up here so that we can take a look at them. But you'll notice that we've got headlights here in green. We've got a couple of lights. There's a light bar right above his face mask and screen. I believe the inside of the control surface is lit. We'll talk about that. There are 4 box floods here that appear to have, some kind of a tungsten filament light in them, sort of the old classic tungsten filament lights here. We're going to be lighting those in blue. There are 2 lights above those lights, and we're going to be trying to or attempting to light those. There is a camera here, but we're going to put a lens in there, but we're not going to light it. So if I'm counting correctly, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 opportunities for light. And so we're going to take all of that into consideration as we move through this. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that there is an opportunity for you to put a 9-volt or some kind of a battery in the back of this and we're going to start looking at the parts, but here's the back and the front, and you could magnetize this and put something in here. I'm not a super huge fan of doing things like that, only because I am not a big fan of playing with these kits or having to handle them too much because they're works of art in my mind and in my opinion. They are not toys. Now, some guys like to show off all of the various different accoutrements that they put in here, and I say, awesome, you knock yourself out. But that won't be me. I have been thinking about putting power in the back here somehow, but I've made a decision that what I am going to do is I'm going to bring the power in through the mounting point that you're given. And here's them zizizes right here. And so everything can come through there, not a problem. And then I'm going to get all my lights because there are no blinkies here. Everything is static. The lighting is static. But if you look at the orientation of it, I would like to present it in an attack mode, which wouldn't be straight up. It'll be on a little bit of an angle. So the idea here, the notion is that, and let me get my fat fingers out the way and we'll look. So it'll be a little bit of that kind of a thing. Not so steep, but something like that. And so it feels like it's in attack position. Some of the elements are not perfectly accurate. They're not correct. For instance, in the face plate here, this detail is not correct. These louvers should be angled, and there are some other details behind here. So I kind of wish this would have been a separate element that you could get behind and we could have added some pipage to, but we don't have that luxury, so we can't, so we won't. This is what we've got, and so this is what we're going to build for the love of Jehovah. I took one of these printed box parts. These are those elements here in blue. And so what I've done is I've gone ahead and I have reprinted those, but I dug a hole in the back. So this becomes this. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to create a tungsten filament effect. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get a clear piece of clear rod, and I'm gonna light up one end of the rod with my SMD that I'll attach to it, and that will light up that rod, and that's how I'll get that effect. And I'll most likely will either paint the interior silver or I'll put some metal tape in there, but digging those out has allowed me to get my wires in there. Now, you could ultimately try this with I've made them larger. I can print them smaller if I want to. It's no big deal, because you can actually make, I made this large enough for a 3mm because I wasn't sure about brightness, but you could also make it a lot smaller. But I can clean that up with some of my UV light curing putty, so I'm not too worried about that. But that takes care of the boxes here. And then the other light is this element here, and that element that you get that comes with the kit looks like this. There's them zizzes. And so what I have done is, in order to get this little piece here to light up, I've printed it, and I printed it with a hole in it like this. And then I can use my dome making light curing resin to put a little lens over that, but I'm able to get my light in there. So that takes care of the element in green here. And so now I have a plan for the 2 headlights, the 4 tungsten boxes, and the 2 lights that go above those lights. And again, we'll pop in a production still here so you can see what I'm talking about. And then the final piece, which I have not messed with yet, I'm going to, is this piece here, because I haven't quite figured it out yet. Here it is. And this is the light bar. And this element here has to be cleaned out, drilled out. Now what I might do, what I think I'm going to attempt to do, and I'll print a bunch of these in case I've ruined this one, is I'm going to attempt to sort of drill this out, clean this out with a Dremel, and perhaps put a little hole in the back here to access my 2 SMD chips to get them through here. And then I will cover the whole thing with dome curing clear resin to get that lens back. I'm going to attempt to do that. So I need to print a few more of those. I haven't done that yet, and that will take care of all of the lights except the interior. So let's let's just move that off to one side here for a second, and let's talk about the interior here. So here's the part again that we're going to be looking at, okay? And so there are several elements to this. There's the main internal piece here, and your head sculpt goes in here, and we have a aftermarket head sculpt of Igoe. The one that comes with the print is sort of, sadly, it just feels like a mannequin. You could certainly use it, and it's certainly fine, but we've got an aftermarket piece that I found on Etsy that I think we're going to use that will really do the job. So I'm pretty excited about that. But then you've got this element here, which is the front portion of that interior sort of the suit. If I get my fat fingers out the way there, and then I'll point to it with this lovely stickage. There it is. Those 2 elements. Or you go after and you put something up top here. But either way, either way, that's the last of the lighting. And now what you got to be careful of is that this light that you put down here does not overpower his face, because it'll just blow it right out and you won't see anything. So we've talked about the head and we've talked about the tail. Now I want to talk about, let's just go to the arms. So the arms are formed with several elements, and here's them is. So you've got these boxes here. That's part one, and then you can put a piece of metal rod through here if you want these to be articulated. Probably will do that, just to get the correct position, and then I'll probably glue that off. But you can start that way. And then you've got the interior of the arm piece, which forms the bulk of the forearm. And then you've got several sort of manipulator pieces that come off of it, and they're different on both sides. On this side, which is the left side, you've got you've got this piece up front, like this sort of thingage, and then you've got this wonderful element that goes behind it. Excuse me, that sits up in here. So these are the two elements that make up the left arm, and that looks something like that. And then you've got your right arm. You put your right arm in, your left arm out, you do the hokey. Okay. Anyway, so that is here. And then this has several elements on it which are interesting. One is this sort of this camera thingy here. This rather insidious looking grip arm that in the film just starts yanking at all of his life support systems, and that goes up in here. And if you want to, if you've decided I don't want it in the open position, you're supplied with one in the closed position, and you would just swap one out for the other. So you've got your two choices there, and we will make a game time decision on whether it's open or closed at that point. But that is the arms. Your legs are a different story. Let me move these out of the way for now. It's there's some nice details there. It's not a complicated build, but we're going to make it overly complicated with our lighting setup. But that's okay. That's all part of the fun of this. And let me go to the final part, which is the leg. Now I'm going to show you just one leg here because we've droned on enough. But here's the leg. So the leg element here is this piece, a frame, which you have here, and these are identical. And these sit in here like thisage. And then you've got a thruster arm that comes in the back like that, and that sits like this. And then you've got your leg element that allows thrust, you sort of to thrust yourself forward, and that goes like that edge. And then you've got these wonderful little thrusters that are in here. Now, again, another opportunity to go insane here. If you could print this separately, and or you had it in two pieces, you could motorize these. I am thinking about, I haven't decided yet, but I am thinking about doing something here. There is an opportunity to sort of, when these sit in here, is to backlight this with a blue light, which could be a lot of fun. But since the position we are sort of showcasing this in, you won't really see it. So that might be overkill and a game time decision there as I sort of move through. Okay, so there you go. That's all of the details. There's a couple of other small things too. There's some tanks here that you get. Here's one here. You get this sort of these thruster tanks. Here's a close-up of this detail from the back of the leg. Very nice. Very nice. Very nicely done. On the production model, there are actually... well, let me show you. So what you can see here from this reference picture is that the light bar has two indents, and then there is a deep sort of, there you can see where the lens of the light is actually in what appears to be another lens. So what I'm going to do is I'm cleaning this up on both sides, and then I'm going to drill all the way through. I'm going to actually I'm going to get my drill press out so these are perfect. And then I'll come out the back with my SMD Pico chip lights. But I'm going to get a little bit of tube stock, plastic stock to put in there and cut that so that sort of is the lens. So it should be pretty accurate to the filming miniature. I do like that. I'm not a Canon guy, but sometimes when you can get details right, it matters. It matters. I've been experimenting with some solid core side glow fiber optic. And I tried the blue because I wanted the blue. I thought the blue would look really cool. But interestingly enough, you do need to be in the Pico chip, or the Nano I should say, not the Pico, because it needs to be just a little punchier. But what I've done is I've painted with some aluminum Tamiya in here. I just hit that so I would get that sort of I'd get as much impact from it as I can. I wanted the reflective quality of it. I've got my Nano chip here, and I've got my side glow in, and when I attach this, now obviously nothing is light blocked yet, but the result is absolutely perfect. It's perfect, and it's a lot. I think it's a lot more honest than the blue, and it makes a lot more sense. So what I need to do is pull out a couple more of these, and I'm going to go ahead and hook these up. I need to do 4 of them. Now I've got a shot here to show you of the. Here's a shot of the model. And this is the filming miniature, and you can see the 4 boxes with the tungsten halogen lamps in them. These are off at the moment, but it's just for location, and I've got 4 of them. So I'm going to now that I know what I'm doing and I have my plan, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to commit to these. That is my light source. Now, having said that, there's a bunch of issues that do need to be discussed, and essentially how I hide these wires and where I put them. I've been looking at that, and I do think I'm going to pull everything to the back of the wing so that you don't see it from the front, because no matter how hard I try to clean that up, I think I'm going to make a bit of a dog's breakfast of it, and I don't want to. So I'm going to pull everything through the back and try to hide it the best I can in the back. At least that way, if it's not super perfect, you're not going to see it. But I'm very happy with that result. And so I'm going to go ahead and prep those. Now, while we're here, this going back to this shot, this is the headlight over the mask that you can see there, and it's in black with a red stripe over it. So what I'm going to do, well, what I've done is I've fabricated this piece here, and this is all ready to go. And all it needs is it's red it's red striping, and I think I can do that just with masking tape as long as this is on. But you know, I would much prefer to get these down in decals. I might have some. I'm going to take a look. But here is the nano chip, and I'm going to feed these actually through the front, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some dome resin over that to create a lens and to lock it in place. But I'll show you what this looks like here now. I just have to carefully bend this over so I don't ruin it. And I'll just slip this into place. Let me get those a little closer. That is one of the challenges of using the larger SMD chip, but I think it is going to make a difference. Okay, that is absolutely perfect. So let me go ahead and get that fired up for you. Let's see here. Okay, and there's them zizzes, and there'll be 2 of those, and that is an absolute result. So I could not be happier with that. So things are progressing in the lighting department, and because they're all static and there's nothing other than static lighting, it's just a question of figuring out what I'm going to do. Now, I have ordered from Evans a wireless remote pack. Now they're offering these things for $10, and because I've only got a few static lights, this could be the way to go in terms of being able to power it on and off. It's $10, so we'll get it on the bench, we'll take a look at it, and then we'll make a decision together as to whether or not we're going to go forward with that or find something else, because I'm still working on the base as I'm continuing to build this. So this is a result. We have our mask floodlights all completed. And I've used a little bit of doming resin over the tops of those just to give them that real authentic look, and they'll just need some detail. There's some red details that will go on. But I think this is a really nice comparison to this. As you can see, the lights aren't on obviously, and somebody is home. But you can see the bar above the mask, and so we've got a really nice rendition of this now, and I'm very happy with that. So that is a result. So we can check that off as something that we've completed. I'm going to pull out. I think I might have some red decals for this, but couldn't be happier. We can adjust brightness, by the way, if we need to, by just adding a little bit of diffusion. So I'm not too worried about that. We can hit this with a matte clear, and that will help a little bit as well. But yeah, very happy with that. Looks very cool. Okay, we talked about the boxes, and what I did was I painted the inside of the box with a metallic silver just for the reflective quality of it. And then I added my side lighting fiber optic, which turned out really well. So that with the optic in the box, glued into the box, that's what you get. And then what I discovered is that these little 1.8 mils are perfect for lighting that up. So they're pre-resisted Evans Design 1.8s, and I made a hole. I dug a hole on these ends. I didn't try to drill a hole. I just simply dug a hole. Now I made it larger because I wanted to be able to figure out just exactly what kind of light would work best. And I've decided for my purposes that the 1.8 mils are working really well. And so, after you've got this installed and dried, you go ahead and you bend your 1.8. I bent this to a 45, and I simply have I glued it into one side using a fast curing light putty from Frozen. I use that, and it works really well. and that secures the light in place. When I've done that, after I've done that, I went ahead and took my my metallic silver tulip. Now the slick tulip, we use the black obviously for light blocking. We also use white, but we also use silver as well. And I use that to sort of basically make up the ceramic tips of the tungsten light. And then I just touch that off with just a little bit of copper, just to create, you know, a little bit of sort of the illusion of the tungsten tips. And after you've done all of that, I painted the box flat black, and then I have laid a clear piece of film over that to create the glass. And what you end up with is this. Now I'm going to go ahead and let's get this lit for you. I'm going to go ahead and stick a battery on that, and we'll see that lit. And that works really well. Now this is a bright room, but you can see the effect is working quite beautifully. And here's a test fit of one of my tungsten boxes, and that's working pretty well. I've just got to make a little bit of an adjustment so it sits down, but I like that a lot, and I think that's going to work really well. Now here's where it gets interesting, because these wires now have to somehow disappear into the back here, so we're going to have to do a little bit of channeling here, but I think that'll be okay. It's on the back, and we can sculpt that and clean it up. Wish this had been, you know, as thought through as it was with this cavity, to just create some channels for us, but that's okay. We'll make our own, but that's a result, and that's going to work really well. I've painted the rear tanks of the Igoe Pod in a gray metallic, which I really like. So now what I've got to do is mask these off, and I've got to get the aluminum or chrome on the outside on essentially what are the parts that hold the tank to the Igoe Pod, you know. So I don't know if they're called clamps or straps, whatever you want to call them. So I've got 2 of those I'm going to tape up and do, and that's next. And then moving along with the lighting, sometimes you get lucky, and I got really lucky with finding some really fun stuff at the hardware store. So what I've got is I've got these nuts here that you essentially what you do is with these nuts is you I drilled a hole in the back of them, and they're just a plastic washer nut cap that I found at the hardware store. And so what I am going to do is, after I've painted my lamp housing in the metal, I drop this in with the 3mm SMD, LED behind it, and then I've got this wonderful washer here that drops on the top of that, and then I've got this piece I found left over from building my Orca, and it drops on top, and you get this really wonderful effect. This lamp all of a sudden starts to look important and have a lot of stuff going on. These are amazing, by the way. I found these at a model shop in Australia and had them shipped here. They're portholes that actually have the glass already inside of them. That is pretty cool, and I like the contrast of the color. Now I'll dull those down and age them out a little bit, but I really like this. So ultimately, I think I've got a really solid plan. I'm not gonna the lights on top. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a metal piece on top of those. I don't think I'm gonna light them. I think that's probably too much. I don't know, because it's a lot of work to get a hole punched in those. It's not impossible. I have ordered some Pico chip SMDs from Evans, but I don't know if they'll get here in time. We'll see. When I say it won't get here in time, let me clarify that statement. It's not because I'm in a rush to finish this. It's because I'm actually going to be traveling. As I'm recording this, I'm a couple of days out from heading over to Japan to go there for the first time and check out the modeling industry there. So I'm pretty excited. So I'll be gone for a week, and then I come back, and then I've got a few days before Wonderfest. That was the clarification of that statement. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, we're in May. This is May of 25. That's where you've found this. There, I've time-stamped my show. Okay, so we've got the lamps ready to go. I'm working on the arms. We started to do some work on those. I decided to go with dark iron for my overall base of the Igoe Pod itself, which I think is a really nice color. It's a fun color. So everything is getting a coat of that, except for the internal workings of the arms here. And I've just started to detail those out, and I'll continue to do that because they need hosage, and they just need some dirtying down. If you look at this shot of the Igoe Pod, you'll see that there's quite a little bit of dirtying down that can be done. But I'm pretty excited about where we are and how much we're actually getting done here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up my lights. I will see if I've still got some Pico chips in-house. And see if it's worthy of going ahead and doing that, although I'm not entirely sure it will be. But I do have something for them. I've got a little brass piece that I can put on top of those. Here, I'll show you that. Sort of fun. Let me show you this. It's a little brass fitting that I can drop on top like that, and I think that makes it very sort of mechanical. And then I can put a little lens in those. They don't necessarily have to be. They don't have to be on. So I have my lens installed, which is this piece. Behind it is the plastic nut, and then on top of the plastic nut is this lock nut washer, and that just created the sandwich. And that all went on top. And now what I'm doing is I'm putting in these what are supposed to be little bolts that hold the whole thing down. So it's almost like it's a lamp housing that you would find either on a pool light or any kind of a waterproof light. And since this was the 80s, this is most likely how they would have done it. They would have definitely used watertight housings, which required these sort of these bolts, not dissimilar to what you would find on a bell, the old bell diving suits, the old traditional suits that they used to dive in to get sponges and things like that. It's fiddly work, but we're getting there. But I thought it was worth memorializing only because I've taken this on, foolishly or not. I've taken this on because I think this extra detail is really going to make this pop. I don't mind telling you this is the kind of work that I love to do, but doesn't love me, because you've got to have the patience gods with you, and you also have to be able to get lucky with your glues, because you get the wrong angle and that goes off, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm trying to be as quick and as clever as I can. But, as I said, I think the result is worth it. You can be the judge. Let me move this over here and I'll show you my progress here. That's what we're getting. And I really think it's worth it. I know this is sort of overkill and everything else like that, but let me fire this up and show you why I think it's worth it here. A bit of a struggle while I put a battery on this, but we will get this lit. And I'll hold that to camera, and you can see that is worth it. I've got one more of these to build, and I've got a few more of these little latches to put in, but once they're in, I think the detail is really good. It's really fun, and I like uber detail sometimes. I think it works, especially on something like this where, you know, you're really trying to avoid this toy-like appearance, and you're also trying to avoid the fact that sometimes resin prints can be a challenge if the print isn't perfect. So, the way this was designed is kind of curious. It's at a very odd angle for the way that it is, but I guess that's because of the way it actually situates on here. It situates like that sort of thing. But why it tips up, I don't know. If you have them like that, then it's wrong. The camera's in the wrong place, but it makes more sense in terms of the angle. But that is not how it is. It's not how it is in this photo. If you look at this photo, so as you can see, the light is actually on the outside. But the way these are designed, which is kind of curious, they're tipped up. They're not, the angle is wrong. I wish these would have been separate elements so that we could have done a little more adjusting to them. But we can't, so we won't. I built most of this. I think this detail is going to be quite impressive, but I guess you'll be the judge of that. I'm getting the light boxes in now. They're going to be permanently installed so that I can clean up these holes with a little epoxy putty and then get those, try to get those to disappear as best as I can. They seem to be going on relatively well. I marvel at the fact that when I do something on camera, I marvel at it. I marvel at the frustration of what happens. I don't get it, but there you go. Coming together now. Yeah, at a certain point I had to commit to getting these on because I can't really proceed. So, you know, there's only so much I can do, and then I have to get these going. Now, I do believe I'm getting a little help here from the Aztec dummy himself, who I believe is creating. He's gonna cut some black vinyl for me. I know he's building the Igoe, or will be building it at some point in the future, but he's gonna cut me some black vinyl to create gaskets. But this is really starting to look like an Igoe Pod. Got the last light to go in here. Also, these lights are incorrect. They're tungsten halogen exterior floods. that obviously the production team got from somewhere locally, some local box store to put on here. But at the back are actually angled in on these lights. The correct. There you go. That's starting to look pretty nifty. Very happy with that. So now what I've got to do is let that set up, and then I've got to hide these wires, get them into the body, and then I can putty this up, and that will be done. And then I can just, then it's a simple matter of putting the arms and the legs, the leg pieces, but they have to be painted up. I'm still working on details, and I'm still working on details for these vents up here. But they'll get washes, and they'll get aged up a little bit. It's a shame. There is actually there was an opportunity to put a little hosage in there, but sadly we can't. But that is okay. I am not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm very happy with Igoe Pod. Now it's all looking a little stark and intense right now, but I assure you, once we get a coat of matte clear on here, we will we'll really start to pull this together. But I think this was a momentous step forward, and you can see with these wonderful arms that well, let me go overhead for you here. These wonderful arms that sit see here, where, whoa, how does this go? Well, they go see, they're going to go this way, I believe. No, they're going to go this way, something like that. But you can see it really starts to come together. Very cool. It's a great project. Really fun. I think I'm going to leave this update here. I've made a lot of progress. We'll finish it in the next report. As I post this, I'm getting ready to go to Japan for a week. So expect certainly some Instagram shots, and definitely an update when I return. So I'm going to Japan, and then when I come back, I've got a week, and then I turn around and go to Wonderfest. It's quite a hobby month, I would say. But yeah, I will. Don't forget, I'll let you know about these files again. I'll put it in the description below for those of you who can't be bothered to go back and look. Otherwise, everything else is basically from the print itself. I'll also give you some contact information for Sean Homer at 8K Miniatures Print Service. He also sells kits as well, but again, he is in the middle of a move, big company move from DC, from Seattle, well, from the Washington State area. What am I talking about? Out to another state, to New Mexico. So be patient with him for the next month. But once his operation is up and running again, I assure you it'll be business as usual for sure. And this is one you will want to get from him if you can't print it yourself. Okay, hey, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. I post most days my in the weeds, what's on the bench photos on my Instagram account. That's @Spruverse. Buy me a cup of coffee. That link is on my channel page. You know that's for my charitable bills, or if you just want to say thank you. But hey, as always, please, I wish all of you be safe, be well, build something, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.